So today we're doing a virgin hair color on my oh so adorable client Micaiah. And if you don't know what virgin hair color is, it's just basically a fancy word meaning first time getting hair color. So I'm going to do a partial foil placement for her, but when her hair is down, it'll pretty much read like a full head of color. So traditionally what I like to do is, unless someone requests to go all out on their first time, I kind of like to ease them into bolder looks, because seeing yourself in color can kind of shock you initially, and that's exactly what I'm doing for Micaiah. So I'm keeping her base very soft, so in the event she wants to go lighter, she can do it with ease. So to keep her hair nice and healthy, I want to keep her base color, like her natural base, and I also want to add like a half light in there and then a highlight. And the highlights are going to be very, very, very iridescent. They're going to be very thin, blonde streaks, and I want them iridescent because she might just want to go lighter, and I do not want to overwhelm her head with so much blonde, because then we'll have to work backwards and then add low lights back into it, which we don't want to have to do all that. So I'm going to preserve the integrity of her hair first and go in with a mid shade, and it's going to be kind of like a brown color, and I'm going to do those slices a lot thicker. Actually those are going to be weaves. They're not going to be slices at all. And the blonde pieces, they'll be slices, and they'll be very, very thin and just pretty much like baby lights or strand lights, because like I said, we keeping it very easy. We're going to ease her into this. We're not going to do too much, because I don't want her jumping out this chair trying to come chase after me. Like, we're going to keep it very, very slow and steady. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's discuss these formulas. Now, as you can see, Micaiah's hair is very dark, and on a color scale, I would give her about a 3. She's not like a pitch black. I mean, really no one rarely ever is. But she's like a dark brown. So I'd say like a level 3. That would pretty much describe where she is on the color scale. And I'm going to use Pravana's 8P and 8GV plus 30 volume developer and red corrector. And I'm using the level 8 because I really need to bust open her cuticle, because I need that brown to take. If I use anything lighter, it's not going to give me as much lift. Like, I'm really going to have to make her cuticle expand. So that plus the 30 volume developer is going to make it move very fast, which is what I want. And then the red corrector, what that's going to do is, on the color scale, brown hair has red undertones, and I don't want so much red to pull through. So I'm going to be proactive and add the red corrector in first, so I don't have to come back later and try to remove it. Like, I want to keep her brown kind of neutral, and at the end you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not going to be red, like a red brown at all. It's going to be very neutral. And for her highlight, I'll be using Blonde Solutions. That is my favorite lightener. Y'all, it's actually new. Like, it just got on the market a couple months ago, and I already knew it was going to be a great and an excellent product, because the owner of the company also is a hairstylist, and his work is just phenomenal. So I'm like, okay, he knows what he's looking for. This is going to be an excellent product. So that's what I'm using. And I'm also going to use the 20 volume developer. And I love this lightener because it has it has violet pigments in it. And as you know, when you go lighter on the color scale, blonde has yellow undertones. And so those violet crystals, they actually help neutralize that warmth. So when it comes time to tone, you don't have to overwork yourself. So that 20 volume developer is going to keep it very nice and slow. We're already going to get her super light, so we don't really need anything more aggressive than 20 volume because we want to preserve the integrity of her hair. So let's have a little chat, y'all, and have a little, a little question segment. I'm going to discuss about 5 questions that I normally get from clients or, potential clients, anyone that's just wanting to maybe get hair color. These are the top 5 questions that I am asked a lot, so I thought I'd share them with you. The first one being, how do I know if my hair is healthy enough to receive hair color? Well, that is just all depending upon, really, I would also say your stylist, because what some people deem healthy, others may not. But this is my key. This is what I look for. I typically look for moisture retention and breakage. If I see your ends are compromised and you have split ends all throughout your shaft, I'm more than likely not going to give you anything lighter. You'll definitely be on the darker end. And then also, if your hair is dry hair and broken hair is it's a recipe for a disaster. So I do not give anybody color who has those 2 issues. We have to work to get that moisture retention up. You can do that by steam treatments, moisture treatments. I wouldn't say protein treatments. Protein does not affect moisture. Protein is good for strength. Now, if you're experiencing breakage, then we'll do a protein treatment. So I would say, okay, hey, this is the game plan. Let's work to get your hair healthy in about 8 weeks. Let's see where you are. If you're coming consistently or if you're treating your hair consistently, let's see where you are then, and then we might can revisit it. So those are kind of keys to look for. All right, so here's another question for you. Will color break my hair? Yes, it can break your hair, but it should not break your hair. Now, no one's perfect. Even colors make mistakes. I have made my share of mistakes in the past, and sometimes I still do. I will say I'm not breaking nobody's hair off at this point in my career, but I have done it. Okay, so hey, that's me, and I'm sure we all have been there if you do hair. But it really just depends on what you're getting, and if you know how to formulate. Going lighter, we're just going to discuss that part. Always has its pros and cons, and simply put, everybody is not a candidate to go lighter. So when I have clients that want to go lighter and their hair is just not necessarily compatible with anything past a level 7. Level 7 is kind of like a medium blonde. Then I say, hey, just get some micro links with some color, some lighter blonde pieces going through. In a way, you can have the best of both worlds, because at the end of the day, you don't want to compromise the integrity of anybody's hair. There's always a way if there's a will. If there's a will, there's a way. However you say it. If you want to achieve blonde, there's ways to do it. So that's what I think about that. It's not like color is known to break your hair off. Like I said, it depends on how it's done. You need to have a thorough consultation, though. I will say that's key to any successful color outcome is the consultation. If something goes wrong with the outcome, that means somewhere in that consultation, the right questions weren't asked, or somebody just didn't know what they were talking about. Either way, it's a disaster. So don't be so antsy to go and get it. Take your time, and for God's sakes, please don't use box color. We'll talk about that in another video, but let's not do that. All right, so here's another question. can I get color if I have a relaxer? Yes, you can, but just be prepared to start doing some protein treatments and be in a salon a little bit more frequently. This is a thing that's kind of just based on the individual client. Some people get a relaxer and their hair is still strong as ever. Some other people may get a relaxer and their options are pretty much limited. So the safest way to do it is just to add pieces to it, unless you are kind of staying in like a safe range. I would say that's like a brown to like a dark blonde, then that's fine. But you have to take care of your hair when it's relaxed. And if you want to color it, you really have to take care of it. I know some stylists, they won't even do it. Like, you have a relaxer, oh, you're not getting hair color. Me, I'll do it, but like I said, it just depends on the client. If I even feel like you're not going to take care of it, then I'm just going to say no. And you're just going to have to be mad at me, because I'm not going to be out here just breaking folks' hair off and you be telling folks I did your hair. I'm going to say, no, I did not. I didn't do that. So, yes, it can, it's compatible. You know, you can wear it with a relaxer, but like I said, protein treatments and strengthening treatments are going to help preserve the integrity of your hair. And, you know, hey, if you just don't want to do that, then just go get some extensions and add it in. You know, like, you just can't go wrong with that. At the end of the day, you want to preserve your healthy hair. Okay, so this next question is so popular, and I feel like this really needs to be clarified. What's the difference between a rinse, semi-permanent, demi-permanent, and permanent color? So I'm gonna try to give y'all the short version. A rinse literally just sits on top of your hair. It does not do anything. Then when you wash your hair, you're gonna see it fall all out, especially if you're using hot water. That's another tip. Use cold water when you have color. Any type of color, use cool water. You'll get your money's worth, and it'll also last a lot longer. Semi-permanent is along the lines of a rinse. It's really like the same thing. It's just different terms. So that also just sits on your hair. It does not move. It does not deposit into your hair. It does not change anything. It literally just sits on top. The more you shampoo your hair, you're gonna get to the point when it's all just gonna come off. Demi-permanent. Now, a demi-permanent is what I typically use. I typically don't use any semis unless I'm doing like fashion colors, like blues, purples, pinks, those type of colors. I use demi colors a lot in a salon, especially when I'm doing my blondes, because I use that color, that form of color to tone. And the demis, they actually seep a little bit more into the cuticle. They don't necessarily make it lighter, but they're a little bit more aggressive. So I like to use the demi because when you're coming in a salon, you want professional results. You don't want anything that's going to fade too quickly. So that's when the demis come into place. So it's that fine line between a semi and a permanent color. Some color lines like Beijing, those are examples of a demi color. Another color line that's a semi color is like the Beautiful Brown collection by Clairol. That's a semi. So the permanent color, that changes your hair. Permanent color you'll typically see in box dyes. Well, in the beauty supply store, you'll see those in box colors, and those are what you need to be really cautious of. I don't recommend anybody use box color because the ammonia in it is so high, and ammonia can break your hair off, simply put, especially when it's just too high on the pH scale. So ain't no telling what they putting in those box colors. Now, I ain't gonna say all of them are bad, but most will compromise the integrity of your hair. And I get a lot of box dye color clients that come in and they say the color broke my hair off. I'm like, you used the wrong color. And I just don't feel like professionals should use box color, but you know, to each his own. Everybody has their thing. But those are the differences between the different strengths of color. Okay, y'all, so this is the last question for this little question segment. I actually kind of like doing this. We might have to do a little question segment in the videos, you know, because people want to know these things. So question 5, can I get blonde hair if my hair is black? The short answer to this would be, once you go black, you never go back. And I know y'all heard that statement before, but we're gonna use it for this. Put in black hair color on your hair. Doesn't matter what kind, semi, demi, permanent, don't matter. It's the direct equivalent to putting a black towel through the washing machine with bleach. Once you take that black towel out, y'all know how it's gonna look with spots. It's gonna have patches, maybe even holes in it because of the aggressiveness of the bleach. So I don't recommend it. Don't do it. That's the short answer, because it's costly to remove and it's very expensive. So make sure y'all tune in for part 2 for next week for Micaiah's transformation. We're gonna be doing her silk press, and also I'm gonna show you how I finish up this color. So I'll see y'all next week.